David, let me translate this. Sources tell ESPN that Jimmy Butler has indicated to the Miami Heat that he wants the organization to trade him. He wants to play anywhere but Miami. Sources also say that he does prefer the Suns, Warriors, Rockets, Mavericks as desired destinations, but both sides have met over the last week, the Heat with his agent, to try to diffuse this situation from my understanding, but it has reached a point of no return. And one issue that has circulated in the last 24 hours is the Heat implying to Jimmy Butler and people around him that he might not have been putting forth or playing his hardest in Wednesday's win against New Orleans. And that was a breaking point of sorts. And at this point, it has nothing to do with his contract. He's on a $49 million deal. He was extension eligible. And Pat Riley said in the offseason, essentially, that we are not going to be extending Jimmy Butler. He does have a $52 million player option for next season. It gives both sides an amount of leverage. Jimmy Butler has the right to opt out and become a free agent. The Heat, likewise, can see whether he does indeed opt in or opt out. But this is a situation, David, it is at a point of no return. It's irreparable, and it's at a point now where, this battle between two alphas, there is not going to be a resolution until Jimmy Butler feels like his request has been satisfied.
First of all, a couple of things to the American public right here. Major props to Shams Charania. You've been all over this story for weeks. Okay, you came on the show because, the agent for Jimmy Butler had tried to debunk what your reporting was, and you turned out, obviously, to be right. And you've been on top of this from day one, so major props to you. This is your story. That's number one. Number two, let me say this. And this is a very hard conversation. And leave Shams Charania up there, please, when I'm talking, because I want to see him when I'm saying this. It's a very, very difficult position for me to be in. I believe the Miami Heat to be one of the elite organizations this sport has ever seen. I think that Pat Riley is one of the greatest executives. He's one of the greatest people. I love this man.
Yeah.
I've known him for many, many years. And we talk every chance I see him. It's always an honor and a privilege to talk to Pat Riley. Jimmy Butler has a point. He's not wrong here. Somebody has to say it. When we look at the Miami, and I'm watching this game last night, I'm watching Indiana blow them out. At one point, they was up, I think it was like 107-79. They were up like 28 points. They're getting blown out by Indiana, and Tyrese Halliburton is looking like the second coming of Steph Curry. So I don't know what the hell's going on. 33-15 with no turnovers and all of this other stuff. I'm watching the Miami Heat, and I'm watching Jimmy Butler stand in the corner. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? That's not the Jimmy Butler I've known for years. Now, Jimmy Butler and I go back many years. I've known him since his days in Chicago. Obviously, when he was in Philadelphia with Joel Embiid, the biggest mistake they ever made was losing Jimmy Butler. Okay, he ends up going to Miami and what have you. We know what transpired when he was in Minnesota and stuff like that. This is a guy that once played with the second team just to beat the living hell out of the starters to show how soft they were at the time. This is who Jimmy Butler is. So he's a guy that will recognize and acknowledge he was a bit of a distraction in Chicago. He was a bit of a distraction in Minnesota and stuff like that. But this is also the guy that led Miami to two NBA Finals. And I'm watching this guy right here, and Shams, here's what I'm looking at. 30.8 minutes per game, his fewest since 2012, 2013. Scoring average, 17.6, lowest since 2013, 2014. Field goal percentage at a career high, 55%, 58% on two-pointers. Three-point shooting percentage, 37.5%. All right, three-point attempts, 1.5 per game, fewest since 2012, 2013. Here's the biggest one. Usage rate, 20.3%, the lowest for the Miami Heat. You got to do like Hayward Highsmith, averaging 5.4 shots a game, that has more of a usage rate than Jimmy Butler. What the hell is that about with a dude that's getting paid $49 million, that's got a play option that's going to give him $52 million? How do you justify a usage rate like this? He's standing in the corner. You've got Tyler Hero, who can ball. I like Tyler, but some of those shots he's made is not exactly within the floor of the offense, something that you would strongly advise. Those are difficult shots that he takes from time to time. You look at a Bam Adebayo, who can ball. We respect him, but he's not a legit center. He's an undersized center. He's got skills, but he's not all world. This is Jimmy Butler that we're talking about here.
But
How How is this happening?
Well, Friday, the Heat suspended Jimmy Butler for 7 games. In a statement, the team said the suspension was for multiple instances of conduct detrimental to the team. On Thursday, Butler said he had lost his joy playing in Miami and that he did not think he could get it back. Here's senior NBA insider Shams Charania with the latest.
Sources tell me Jimmy Butler has indicated to the Miami Heat that he wants a trade out of Miami and he's open to playing anywhere in the league. From what I'm told, his preferred destinations, though, are the Phoenix Suns, Golden State Warriors, Dallas Mavericks, and Houston Rockets. And although both sides have met over the last week or so, the agent of Jimmy Butler as well as the Heat, to try to diffuse this situation, my understanding is this is at a point of no return. And this is a situation between two alphas in Pat Riley and Jimmy Butler. It's at an irreparable stage here between the Heat and Jimmy Butler with about 1 month before the NBA trade deadline.
As we welcome in Anscape senior writer David Dennis Jr., Butler took the Heat to the NBA Finals twice in 5 years. What is your perspective on how this situation has devolved to this point?
Yeah, Shams is absolutely right. We have two alphas who, cannot see eye to eye. But to me, we're not spending enough time talking about how Pat Riley has mishandled this situation. Like, what do you think Jimmy Butler is going to do, or any player is going to do in a situation where they have taken you to the finals multiple times? You won't renew the contract and you won't entertain trading them. Like, this is a textbook blueprint of what athletes do in these situations. They become unhappy. They become disgruntled. They sometimes disrupt the locker rooms. Pat Riley and the Heat had to have known something like this was coming in their refusal to either move Jimmy Butler or re-sign him. And this was all avoidable for a team that really needs to make the playoffs this year with that young core to maintain their picks and just to carry on the momentum of being the Miami Heat.
Yeah, in the meantime, here we are. As you said, we've seen this movie before with players saying, listen, I need to be moved. It's an untenable situation there. Shams outlined 4 Western Conference destinations that would make sense for Jimmy Butler. Which one do you think is the best? Who could use his skill set at this point?
So with Jimmy Butler officially asking for a trade, I think now is one of the perfect times for the Golden State Warriors to finally make a move. They've done this time and time again, where they have let a lot of stars slip from their fingers when it comes to getting a trade done. For example, Domantas Sabonis was on the cards, earlier on during the offseason. However, they weren't able to pull the trigger there. It was said that they were trying to go for LeBron James before the trade deadline last season as well, and they weren't able to close that deal as well. So it's definitely happened time and time again where when it comes to NBA stars being available for trade, the Golden State Warriors haven't been able to put together a great enough package to be able to make that happen. It may be because they are looking to try to preserve some of their young stars, which is some of the main sort of players that these teams want in return, whether that's Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody, just to name a few. But when it comes to overall acceptance for Jimmy Butler, I definitely see him fitting within this Golden State Warriors team and really adding a lot of impact that they definitely need. As we all say, Draymond Green is the dog of this team, but Jimmy Butler can add that extra dog mentality to this roster as well. I think he will go very well with someone like Steph, with Steph being more of an outside player and Jimmy Butler being able to score in the inside, but also being able to do all sort of things out there on the floor, being able to 3-level score. On top of that, he is a great defender, which we all know, but at 6'7", 230 pounds, he's able to really guard the best of the best, whether it's a guard or even a little bit of a small forward type position. Now, when it comes to Jimmy Butler so far this season, he has been averaging 17.6 points, 5.5 rebounds, and 4.7 assists. So he's done a fantastic job there. But when it comes to Jimmy Butler, what we also do see from his numbers is that he's shooting 56% from the field, which is great, and 38% from the 3-point line, which is also fantastic. It's also one of his highest percentage shooting years or seasons throughout his whole career, and only one other season was able to top that, which was actually last season in 3-point. And when we look at 2-point percentages, he's also shooting one of the highest, where he shot roughly the same 2 seasons ago. So he's not only, he hasn't really degressed in any sort of sense, which a lot of people have thought he would, especially at his age of 35 years old, but he continues to shoot at a very efficient rate. He may not be shooting a similar volume amount of shots, but he's even shooting at a more efficient rate, which is what we like to see. And coming into this team of the Golden State Warriors, he isn't expected to shoot all the shots as well. You know, that is Steph Curry's job, as we all know. But on top of everything else, Jimmy Butler can just be a great asset that they can definitely use and can help them win an NBA championship. Right now, from an honesty stand perspective, and also from what we hear from ESPN analysts, and also Warriors fans in general, which I hear from you guys in the comments. But it doesn't seem that the Golden State Warriors have a championship team on their hands. Yes, they have a very good team and they have made a great trade in getting Dennis Schroeder, but I do believe when it comes to someone like Jimmy Butler, he can definitely add that extra oomph that this team definitely needs. And when it comes to the Golden State Warriors and who they do have so far on the roster, they don't have that fire mentality to get them across the line and win that NBA championship. So Jimmy Butler can definitely be that guy.